Yo, what is going on, guys? It's your boy Kimbo here, and it's time for an epic video. Now, wait a minute. First things first. Can we get the gloves? I literally have them in my pocket. You know. Yeah, they've been taking a beating, man. Like, considering, it's the point each year where it's towards the end. The gloves that I have on are just battered because of all the work that's gone in. But this is the state of them now. You can see on the front, like, they're battered from hell, man, and just beaten and tattered up because all the work that's gone in, dude. The gloves each year show that. It's a year of like blood, sweat, tears, hard work, everything. And no different with these because they were already torn up before the summer, and now they're just like that they're hanging on, man. Only got about little over a month left. So yeah. But anyways, we got to get into this. So it's a discussion video, basically talking about the state of Beyblade going forward. So in particular, of course, Beyblade X, it being the newest Gen 4, dropping in Japan. I will be doing episode reviews and everything with that, anybody was wondering. And if you're wondering about the anime bays like Leon Claw, like Drawn Dagger, Hell's Chain, Rhino Horn, and Viper Tail. I do have the bays. Just waiting to watch the show because I want to watch the show and get into that before actually like doing the battles with the bays. So I have the context of all the bladers and the bays and everything. But for the meantime, you got all the recolor battles that have been going on. I've been making a lot of them if you haven't noticed. But yeah. So yeah. Also, I'll probably put this on Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving, y'all. To anybody, who's celebrating such, or happy holidays, all that good stuff. Hope you enjoy your beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lambs, rams, hogs, trogs, all that good stuff. But yeah, so we're going to talk about Hasbro with this. So the big time thing being that with Beyblade X, Hasbro is set to come back with it. Now, anybody who's a long-term fan, immediately it's like, oh God. And I know people are wondering my thoughts on this. At least in some capacity. I don't think it'll be like as much influence as before, but they market it already like, Hasbro being a part of like Beyblade X and such. And it's set to come out. Anybody who's wondering when the Beyblade X products will drop in the States or over here, get dubbed and everything, it'll be, I think I'm saying like summer of 2024. Around then, summer 2024 is when we're going to see the products finally drop and such. At least over here on the shelves and stuff. And here's the thing with this. If Hasbro executes things the right way, they could, have some serious potential with this. It's me just being real. But from the track record of the history, we all have reason to be like nervous about it. For fair reason, because, with Metal Fight Bay, well, honestly, we'll go all the way back. Plastic Gen, I was one that was much into Plastic Gen because obviously I was a little kid at the time period with it. But from what I saw, at least even on shelves and everything, even when I was a kid, and just like the quality of things, Hasbro did like I think on par with like TT when it came to making the bays, and it was also a time where like plastic over time gets more brittle and snaps, so you don't see like many Plastic Gen bays because like battles and stuff, because some of them do snap off and get brittle, and also depends on the plastic. The big time thing being like that gold plastic that was used for like some of the Plastic Gen bays back in the day. Really good, like rare limited wise, and looked cool, but like just quality wise, snapperoo, kangaroo, they break. But yeah, at least for the HMS bays, they seemed really solid as well, and they went by the books with it. Notoriously, Hasbro's just been known for like using a bit more like softer material and stuff, like a bit more so like performance tips wearing down a bit quicker, or like wheels breaking a little bit, or like dented a little bit more because being like not a strong plastic or metal, etc. Now, Metal Fight is where I really know about like stuff on Hasbro side. So like they didn't make the PHW bays, they made like Night, Night Virgo, etc. Crash Bull, those types of bays. Um, but yeah, dude, in general, or Midnight Bull, that's the name of it. Like yeah, Midnight Bull, Night Virgo, Hyper Aquario. So like how they did the PHW base, switched up things a little bit with that, so not having the exact PHW system, but making it hybrid wheel from the jump, switching that up a little bit, and then like honestly, Metal Fusion, Metal Masters executed really really well. There's the main thing, like I said, parts wearing down maybe a little bit more compared to TT's versions. It's a notorious thing. But the big thing being Metal Fury. Metal Fury is where it switched up because they tried to do like the single You know, instead of doing like the blades with the multiple modes and the weight, they made them like one single piece. So like notoriously Hasbro Phantom Orion, Hasbro J Jupiter, Cosmic Pegasus, etc. But then they made the Hyper Blades, which they did switch up the colors for them, but they had the actual like TT level parts, like with all the different modes and everything, even though they were different colors. So, you know, there was that, and they kind of righted that wrong a bit. But, you know, some bays like Death Quetzalcoatl, Fire Fuse Dark Helm, Fusion Hades, and like Duo Uranus or Duo Ice Titan not actually getting like the TT version, because Duo Ice Titan would have been a solid one for them to put out as a Hyper Blade, you know. But they made some Hyper Blades like Flash Sagittario, etc., you know, and corrected that wrong a bit. And then even with the Legend series, like making the actual colors for like Cosmic Pegasus, Diablo Nemesis, etc., for that being a big time choice. But yeah, so you know, that being one of the cases where they switched up things, but then like kind of righted those wrongs. And then with Shogun Steeler Zero G, they executed it really well, even though they switched up the arenas and stuff. You know, still the bays quality wise and everything about the same as like TT. Obviously a little bit softer with the plastic and such, like I said, notorious thing. So keep that in mind going forward. But still pretty solid quality compared to like how TT did things. Just the face bolt in general having like the plus with it, or like the cross face instead of like the actual stone face that was totally round, which I think is a small little switch up, but like, you know, nothing like too insane. But then we get to Burst. Burst is the era where things were completely flipped. So you talk about single layers, dual layers, God or Evolution base. That beginning part, they did solidly with it. You know, Hasbro did a very, very solid job with it. They did similar to like how TT did with a single layers, dual layers, God or Evolution base. Just the main thing being, instead of having the clicks, they had the slopes, which at that time period were still on par. Like some Hasbro bases actually got a lot better than the TT versions. For example, like Hasbro's P2, better burst resistance than Psychic Phantom. Same thing with, I'd personally say, well, definitely like J2, JL Jormungand or Jumbo Jormuntor. Their Jormuntor, the slopes on that thing was really good. You know, so it made it like a beast compared to like TTs, which bursted a lot easier. Even their S2, honestly, I think Hasbro's S2 was done better than TT's S2. You know, like I said, it was on that level where they were good. Like Arc, and then you go to Evolution, like Arc Ball Cash, Surprise and Requiem, even though it didn't have the Painted God chip, like bays like that, Maximus Garuda, all being really, really solid. The big switch up being at Turbo time. So, you know, Turbo or Cho Z, they took the metal out of the bays and went with a slingshot gimmick. Same thing for GT. Didn't have the layer weights or anything with them. Went with their own Hypersphere gimmick with it. And then Super King or Surge went with the Speedstorm gimmick, not having the double chassis or anything with the bays, like a single chassis, double chassis, besides the Pro Series. And then, you know, getting into like DB, BU, etc., or their Quad Drive or Quad Strike, they didn't even like put the metal layer weights in them. They made the layer weights plastic. And then even for the Pro Series, we never saw anything Pro Series wise for Quad Strike or Quad Drive, you know, or DB or BU, if you will, that TT had. And this is the era with Burst where like Hasbro switched up things big time compared to TT. Just being real, like weight wise and everything, the bays weren't the same exact level. Like they switched up so many gimmicks and everything, and it made it where the game overall was balanced, where these bays were still like, you know, even compared to like some of the beginning bays, were performing a bit more balanced overall as a system. But still, like that overall evolution that was shown through TT with Burst was not met on the same level. You know, and they made some Pro Series bays, but even the way it ended off definitely makes me sad. Like Colossal Helios and Rage Luminor being two of the ones that were set to come out big time, but like got discontinued or basically scrapped because it's like so late with it, and the show is basically over at this stage. You know what I mean? But apparently, Colossal Helios and Rage Luminor have been found in the wild. I haven't found them in my area for sure. Probably won't. So I'm going to try to find them because they're the last two that I need to complete my Surge collection. So I could do like battles with the Surge bays going forward. You know, like the comparisons, like the knockout tournament with all the bays, the comparison to Rise, comparison to Super King, and go that way. Because you know I do those battles once I get all the bays from the sets for a series. But yeah, so Colossal Helios, Rage Luminor, two Pro Series bays, which would have been cool releases. I guess being out there, just being more rare. So like if you find them, definitely pick them up while you can. And yeah, I'm hoping to find a couple. If not, maybe somebody can get a hold of me about like getting them, because I definitely need them for my collection. They're the last two, honestly, the last two bays that I need in general for Burst is like the Pro Series Colossal Helios and the Pro Series Rage Luminor. But yeah, that's besides the point. But with that, I think we've gotten caught up completely with the history of Hasbro when it's come to gimmicks and whether they follow TT's kind of coordinates or like things with it in general. So with how much they switched it up, especially with Burst being the big time case, a little bit during Metal Fight and a lot during Burst. Naturally, people are nervous about it. Hasbro being in the fray of things again. Now, here's my personal take on it. If Hasbro's gonna do it, I hope that they have like big time communication with TT, like TT in on this and being like, hey, you should follow the directions that we have, like the way that we have our bays and stuff, like follow them to a T. Like maybe they could do recolors, like their own custom recolors and such, like say, oh hey, they bring in a bay like Drawn Sword, or they switch up the names or something like that, because they usually like localize and they'll switch up the names a bit for bays. So like how they did like Hal Kerbex, Hades Kerbex, etc. Basalt Hirogium, Twisted Tempo, or if you're going in Burst, Demise Spell Scraper, which they switched from Death Solomon, because like obviously not having death in the name of a bay. Or having Demise Devilos, like how they have in the shows. Instead of Death Diabolos. Switch up the names a little bit. Like if they switch up the names, whatever. So imagine like it's like maybe they'll keep it as Dran Sword or something like that. But if like imagine they do like the 2-packs, like Metal Fury, like during Metal Fight, or even like how they did with Burst, having 2-packs where there's like recolors and stuff with it, custom ratchet colors, custom bit colors and everything. That would be really, really cool. The main thing is just having those gimmicks, making sure all of the metal is in the bays. The metal is the same level of weight and quality as TT. If the metal is a little bit softer, so be it. That's how it is for the, for just how they usually make the products and everything. Hasbro notoriously just had a little bit softer material, whether it's a little bit softer metal or a little bit softer plastic. That being one of the things, like having the metal, having the ratchet gimmick, having the bit, like all the gimmick the same. The gimmicks being the same as how it is for Beyblade X. Even the stadiums, if they switch it up and make their own custom Hasbro stadiums or something, still have the gear system with it. Still have like, the gear setup on the outside. That's the whole gimmick and the premise. Because Beyblade X under TT so far has been amazing. I've loved how they've done this. And this system's honestly really balanced. And that gear on the outside, like that ridge, makes it where like stamina battles, like you can't use quote unquote stamina as much. Like people trying to use just like stamina combos to win fully with a stamina battle or anything. Like those gears make it where like there's no safe spot really in the stadium. Even in the center, you go in and collide, big time hits, and then circling around, you can still like kind of make it a stamina battle a little bit, but not nearly as much of like a stall. You know what I mean? Because the gears help that out, and also the balance of like attack becoming that much more powerful because like the gimmick with the extreme finish, being 3 points. So you can get one big time attack in. An attack type can be down like 3-0 in a battle, get one major hit in, get that extreme finish, and tie it up like that. So it makes it super unpredictable. And that's one thing I love about it too, just the overall balance with it. Attack not playing games, defense, stamina, balance, all of them having their uses in like the Beyblade X Stadium. So hopefully making stadiums that are really similar to that still have the gear ridge, that still have the gimmicks and everything. The main thing is just following like TT's guidance to a T with it, you know what I mean? To a double T, to a TT. Even if they switch up like the overall colors and stuff for the arenas and they make their own custom like colored arenas or something like that, like that's fine. And it's honestly one of those cases where it could be really big marketing wise if they execute it the right way. One thing I've loved about Hasbro is how they made their exclusives. Like I love bays like Ambush, Nidhogg, Katana Muramasa, etc., etc. And even how they did, like, they made Thief Zerago, where TT, during Metal Fight Beyblade, only made, like, Griff Garago that comes in that set, the Synchronized, like, the Synchron DX set. But they actually made, like, Thief Zerago. They didn't make Archer Wyvang, and they had a chance of, like, making some other exclusives, like Berserker Byakko, Guardian Grudas, Phantom Fenrir, which are still, like, some exclusive bays that definitely want to get 3D printed and such at some point. I want to work with someone to get those bays made, and that's why I haven't finished my Metal Fight series completely so far, because I'm like, the last part's going to involve 3D printing. But, like how they've done their exclusives and everything, like they could have capitalized big time on that. People would have got bays during that. If they would have actually added the metal and the full gimmicks in Burst with bays like Ambush, Nidhogg, or Fierce Basilisk, etc., etc. You know, Katana Muramasa, Hydra Poseidon, a lot of the bays we saw during Quad Drive or Quad Strike, that would have been really, really cool. And honestly, people overseas might have honestly got those bays if they had like the full gimmick and everything. That's why I've made like the, you know, like the BU Plus versions, like the upgraded modded versions with TT parts and up burst resistance to show off their power. That's why I've done these battles and everything, you know. But yeah. Just the big thing being, you know, following those things to a T, and they have an opportunity to even do something special. So imagine if they did like some exclusive Hasbro bays, like how they did for, you know, especially in the case of Burst. So we like saw Orpheus, Tyrus, Hyris, Surtur, Diomedes, like bays during that, like for like our dual layers or such. For that level, those switched up things for sure, because how that game is. Like Orpheus, Tyrus, Hyris, Surtur, Diomedes, etc. were really cool to see them. You know, all being around the level of dual layer bays, but in general, they put them out at that time. If they would have been big and switched up things. Now imagine if they make like exclusive X bays, but they actually have the metal. They actually have the ratchet. It's a Hasbro exclusive ratchet or a Hasbro exclusive like wheel with it, but it has the metal, like how they're supposed to, and they make their own exclusives. That would be a win-win for everybody. One, it diversifies the game that much more. Two, it makes it where people actually want to go to the shelves and get these bays, because it's like, oh my god, you got Beyblade X bays that are Hasbro exclusives that are actually like the weight that they're supposed to be, like how they are under TT, but they're Hasbro exclusive. This is the only way you can get these bays is through this company, but they're at this level of the TT bays. You have it where people also overseas would want to get these bays because like them being Hasbro exclusives and everything, it kind of switches it. So you know how there's normally like, you know, how it is even now. Product coming out in Japan big time. People in the States or etc. in the West wanting to get these bays. You got companies like Mala Bays, Mala Toys as well. You know, Beyblade Premier, Bays and Bricks, like all these different companies and stuff who are distributors for this. Imagine they get those exclusive bays for Hasbro. It'll be a win-win for them too, because then you have people overseas wanting to get these bays, so they'll be making money and such. Off that, the interest of people in other countries, as well as people here wanting to pick up the bays and be able to get them on our shelves because they're actual like big time quality. So the main thing is going forward. If they're smart with this, they can even make as much as TT, if not maybe more. I know that's a big time push saying that because like TT's super successful with it, but think of it this way. They put out how many exclusive bays? Like 9, 10, etc. exclusive bays, and that being for just Quad Strike or Quad Drive, both. If they were to put out that number of bays that are exclusives, but they actually have the metal, they have the ratchet, they have the bit gimmick, like all those gimmicks that are on the level of the TT bays, but their own exclusives that you can only get under Hasbro in the West, that's big, dude. That'll make them a bunch of money because you just got to execute the gimmicks and everything the right way. That's the major thing with it. You know, we've seen points where they've done things well, but points where honestly they messed up. I'm honored as hell that they know I exist, that I've been sent packages by them for sure, dude. It's an absolute honor for sure. It's a multi-billion-dollar company, even knowing that I'm a human on this planet, and I appreciate every single thing. Y'all saw me unbox, you know, the Light Ignite set. That's how I got the second Ruin Pandemonium. So I actually am going to be able to, if I could words, actually going to be able to do the modded battles with it. If you're wondering, they're coming. I've got the bay right here with the modded combo. I'm just waiting until I get one more BU plus bay made to do battles with it. You know, so even the Beyblade burst stuff isn't done, not by a long shot. But the point being, if they go with the exact gimmicks, the exact weight, everything that's intended, just like how TT did, even if they switch up the colors or something like that, that's how they're going to execute really, really well with it. And that's what they need to do going forward. You know, they need to go based off of what TT does and not try to switch it up big time. Like, yeah, add things, which will be really cool, like their own exclusive stadiums or something. Maybe they'll make it where people want to get those exclusive stadiums. As long as they have the gimmick like how the Beyblade X arenas are in Japan, you know, they make their own exclusives. People want to get those stadiums. People want to pick up multiples of the bays and not just get one for collection. Because honestly, after Turbo, it was mainly just for collection for me. I mainly got, like, you know, I got TT parts for bays so I can make custom combos for them, and not really that many Hasbro bays or such. Up until like Quad Drive or Quad Strike, because with Quad Drive or Quad Strike, you could put like actual like TT parts in them and make mods and everything like that. Obviously being illegal, but still it's something that's a possibility and shows the true potential of like some of the bays that were slept on under Hasbro that they didn't like fully execute on. But yeah, man, I'm not one that will ever like tear down or push down or anything when it comes to things. You already know that about me. I'm a super optimistic person. I'm always constructive with these videos. I talk about the things that can be improved on, the things that are good, just like how it was for this. Talk about the things that Hasbro did well with Beyblade over the years, but also points where they obviously did mess up with things over the years. And just going forward, it's like I'll be honest, if anybody, I doubt it'll be like a snowball. I think it'll be like a snowball chance in hell, and I doubt it'll happen. But if anybody from Hasbro actually ends up watching this video or looking at it, the main thing I just say, follow the TT coordinates, you know? Like how they have, let me see, I'll get Wizard Era, for example. How they have the metal on the base, incorporate all that metal. The plastic gimmick underneath. How they have the ratchet, incorporate the ratchet gimmick. How they have the bits, incorporate the bits. You make your own exclusives of these, but they're like these levels with this weight and this quality and such. All for it. All for like being creative and making your own spin on things with that. If you're adding to it, but also paying homage and doing so in the right way and not trying to completely switch up the quality of bays in general. Like, if we get bays that are this quality with this metal, with the bits, with the, you know, with the ratchets, all of that, the stadium and such, the gimmicks how they're supposed to be, like how it is in the show too, everything will honestly be good. And that's the main thing with it going forward. I just hope that, like, TT has big time say and Hasbro, like, over things, and Hasbro's like, okay, we got it. We'll put the metal in the bays. They're going to be the same weight and such, or around the same weight as like the TT bays. So there's not much of a difference. You know what I mean? Even if it's like they switch up the colors and such, and you could tell it's like a Hasbro bay or something like that. That's why I do the gen comparison battles, because I love doing those battles. And if the quality is like really similar, the battle's gonna be intense. But if not, you know, that's the thing I show off with those battles. I mean, I'm still gonna be, if you're wondering, I'm gonna be doing like Rise versus Surge. Surge versus Super King. So like TT, how they did Super King versus how Hasbro did Surge. You know, that includes the Pro Series base. Everything with it, and just showing those comparisons, man. But yeah, overall, those are my thoughts on Hasbro having a big time say or possibly being the ones behind Beyblade X when it does come over to the States and such. That's what they really need to do. Hopefully TT has big time influence, and hopefully they actually stick with the regular plans for the bays and everything with it. And yeah, so those are all my thoughts on this. You guys can let me know down in the comments. Definitely want you to just put your honest thoughts out there. But with that, be constructive. Don't just sit and bash or anything with the comments on this video. Please don't do that. That's not a space that this is for. This is about being constructive. It's about talking about the things, hey, this was done well. This was awesome. But also, there are clearly things that you can improve on. And if you're the ones that are going to be fully behind Beyblade X, you know, hear the fans out, because we're the ones that get the products and everything. We're the ones that market it and show it off and like get the products and such. And I freaking love Beyblade. You already know I got a bunch of Beyblade tattoos on both of my arms, you know, and just want to see, honestly want to see them do well with this. And it's just the big time premise of go in, don't switch up the gimmicks big time. You want to use different colors for them? Fine. You want to use exclusive like colors and stuff and exclusive wheels? Go for it. It'll diversify the game and make it where people overseas will want to get them. And just whatever they want to add to it, but also just stick with the plan of like the gear system with the stadium, with the gear system with the bays, the weight of the bays and everything, and not try to switch up a key gimmick that makes a system a system. You know what I mean? They played around with that big time during Burst, and it showed. And like the gimmicks, yeah, they were cool. The stadiums we got were really, really awesome, because Hasbro's always been super diverse with their stadiums, but just the execution for the bays, that being the big time thing. I loved a lot of the Hasbro stadiums, honestly, with Burst. But obviously, bay-wise, you know, there's points where it could have definitely been improved on. That's for sure going forward. I mean, they got bays just for like the sake of collection and not getting them to get multiple parts in order to build combos and battle and everything. Because like just the difference after, you know, honestly, after Evolution was just big time. And if anything, besides that, it was just Pro Series to get custom parts, you know, to do combos. But yeah, man. Anyways, I'm fully pulling. Like I'm fully pulling for with how this goes. I'm pulling for however Beyblade X is executed here in the States and like in the West and such, you know, because we're gonna be getting it next summer, and hopefully things are set up the right way and they actually go with the gimmicks that they're supposed to have. And like I said, give your thoughts and everything in the comments of this video. Please be constructive. It's of course okay to be like, okay, this is something that wasn't good, that wasn't that good, but also be like, hey, there's some things that were pretty good with it, you know, or things that were good, other things that can be improved on, because there's a big time difference between criticism, full-fledged criticism, and constructive criticism. Constructive is trying to make things better. Criticizing is just being like, nah, this sucks, this sucks, this sucks, this sucks, and this sucks. All this is bad. It all sucks. But, you know, be constructive. Be like, hey, okay, this is something they did well. They could have obviously improved on this, but this is something that was cool. So, for example, you know, the Bay quality-wise after season 3, like, you know, they took out the gimmicks and everything, which was definitely sad to see. But one thing I personally enjoyed was the stadiums. I liked how they had different diverse stadiums and stuff going forward. You know, like the Turbo stadiums, like the Hypersphere stadiums, the Speedstorm stadiums, the stadiums we got during Quad Drive, Quad Strike, because they all switched up the game big time, you know? Different arenas for bays to battle in, and they were definitely diverse. That's one thing I thought was really, really cool, because I diversified the stadium. You know, the full stadium selection in that aspect. But of course, the bays being able to be improved on and everything. Yeah, you know, it's just about being constructive with it. Because at the end of the day, we're all bladers. We don't want to see Beyblade fail. We just want to see things executed the way that they should be. You know, if that makes sense. Anyways, guys, been talking for about a half hour. I think I got all my thoughts out about it. So, you know, that's going to do it for this discussion video on Hasbro possibly being the ones behind Beyblade X. Or, like, you know, Hasbro's Beyblade X. Or what Hasbro needs to do with it. I'll figure out a title for it, you know. But, yeah, what Hasbro needs to do with Beyblade X for sure. Anyways, guys, put your thoughts in the comments. All that good stuff. I love all of y'all. Thanks so much for watching. If you watched the entire video, just want to give my honest thoughts. Being a fan, you already know I've been a fan, making content on here for over 11 years. April of next year is going to be my 12th year making, you know, content on here. So, yeah. And we're on the road to 10,000 videos. Yeah, big time hype. You already know. And also, happy Thanksgiving, because it's going out probably on Thanksgiving, or when you're going to see this. It'll probably be the end of the day before Thanksgiving. But, you know. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, be sure to slice that like button down below. Let me know how I did. If you're new to my channel, definitely be sure to subscribe for some epic content, because I upload daily. And if you haven't already, be sure to ring that bell by my channel name to be notified whenever I upload a video after I burp. But yeah, till next time, guys, it is your boy Kimbo signing off. See you guys later. Thanks so much for watching. Till then, stay awesome and go shoot or let it rip. I'm up out of here.